Tour is underway. You can see the pressure on. Riders battle to just hang on. Is she going to take it? Yes, she is.
Hello and welcome along to stage 4 of the AJ Bell Women's Tour, where we've now made our way to the coast and Southend-on-Sea after a dramatic day yesterday in the first ever individual time trial in the history of the race. As the last place rider in GC, Jessica Allen had the honour of being first off the start ramp in the inaugural time trial of the Women's Tour. Veronica Ewers set the benchmark at 24 minutes and 39 seconds. The home fans had plenty to cheer about when Alice Barnes took the lead with a time of 24 minutes 26 seconds. Another Brit, Joss Loudon, who recently broke the hour record, was hotly tipped to do well, and she didn't disappoint, going 4 seconds faster than Barnes to take the lead. Leah Kirschman was fastest at the intermediate split, but by the finish, she couldn't quite surpass Loudon's time, finishing 1 second back. But out on the course, Demi Vollering was ripping up the Warwickshire roads. At the intermediate split, she was quickest by 37 seconds. And by the finish, the Dutch rider had blown the opposition away.
Vollering comes out of the final corner. Big effort now by Vollering up towards the line. Demi Vollering looking to try and take the stage, and she goes to the top of the leaderboard. Phenomenal time, 23:18 for Demi Vollering.
The top 3 in GC, Shayla Gutierrez, Amy Peters and Clara Caponi, couldn't get anywhere near that time. So Demi Vollering won the time trial, and by such a margin that she now leads the GC by over a minute. A strong performance by France's Juliette Labousse moved her up to second, and her compatriot Clara Caponi is now third at 1 minute 19 seconds. The impressive performances from Joss Loudon and Alice Barnes lifted them up to 6th and 8th respectively. And Abby Smith joins me today. Brilliant to see you. You had such a solid time trial yesterday. You must be pretty happy.
Yeah, really happy and very surprised as well, just to kind of have an absolute physical test against some of the best in the world and be able to be up there in the top 10 is just unbelievable, really.
It really was brilliant to see. And where do you think you made the most gains? Because we saw how strong you were on that climb.
Well, I wasn't in the saddle, so I'm sure I didn't make any aero gains, but I think I was 7th at both the intermediate and the end time check, so I think I paced it pretty well, but probably on the bits just over the top of the climb, and having recce'd the course as well, that really helped with some of those corners.
It's so important, isn't it, that recce?
Yeah, definitely, and it probably would have been good to do it 2 or 3 times just to get it perfect, because there's so many blind corners and you think, can I take this one? Is there going to be a pothole? Or so yeah, it was a really fun course though, and really enjoyed it. Nice few lumps there.
It's always nice to hear that you actually enjoyed that brutality of a time trial.
In hindsight, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe I didn't
you
at the
really
time.
loved it. And how's it been out on the road in general and the opening 3 stages? Because of course a British race for you and so many crowds out there.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's so nice, and obviously the children as well. That wasn't me that long ago. So and watching the same riders as well. Kind of Lizzie and one Demi as well, and the Barnes sisters, and just being able to race with them is amazing on the home roads and with some friends and family out there too. So.
Well,
yeah.
Talking of which, you just mentioned a British rider there that has inspired so many people to get on their bikes. Let's hear from 2 times winner of the Women's Tour overall, Lizzie Deignan.
One of those days that I will always remember as one of the greatest days of my career. Yeah, winning Paris-Roubaix was up there with being a world champion. It was a surreal feeling to be able to cross the finish line in the velodrome, having seen that iconic finish so many times in, the men's races over the years. To do it as the first woman I felt like it was part of history, yeah. I felt the weight of the occasion.
She inspires a lot of the other riders in the peloton, and it really was making history at the weekend, winning Roubaix, the first time the women have raced, and you know, it was an incredible victory. To win in that way was incredible.
On the day the leadership role was given to Ellen van Dijk, she proved that she was, you know, on fine form. She won the world title time trial, and it was fair enough that she was leader. Sometimes you have to accept those decisions, and I was ready to play that role. And you know, I attacked on that first cobbled section really with the intention of putting everybody else on the back foot and protecting my leaders, but they never caught me. So, you know, these things happen.
Watching her at London Olympics and growing up, I've always been really inspired by her and her racing and just how aggressive she always is.
She's always a dangerous rider to take a closer look on. So if you see what she's capable of in Paris-Roubaix, so yeah, always a dangerous rider.
The first time I won this race was an emotional moment because it was just before the Rio Olympics and I was in a World Championship jersey and it was a home race. And then the second time around was different and special for other reasons. It was the first race I won after the birth of my daughter Orla, so this race definitely has a special place in my heart.
Brilliant to hear from our 2019 winner, Lizzie Dijkman there. She's just so inspiring, isn't she? What have you made of her recent performances?
Oh, it's just incredible. I've just been in absolute awe, and she's from Yorkshire as well, same part, same world. So it's just amazing to have her as a role model and following the progress. And obviously I'm just starting my career and she's had so many years in hers, and to try and follow in the footsteps is the goal, really.
And she must have inspired you a lot when you started out.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I came from triathlon, but I've obviously always followed the cycling, and to know that she could be out on the road somewhere, I might just accidentally pass her on one of my training rides and try and jump on the back might be awesome. So, and yeah, now to be racing the same races, it's just brilliant.
And talking of this race, how are you viewing things ahead of stage 4 today?
So yeah, it's obviously yesterday shook up the GC a lot, so it's still fairly close, maybe bar position 1, but there's maybe something that we could do with that. But also we have obviously Nina in the sprints jersey, so we will see what the team plan is.
It's been a very exciting week, hasn't it?
Yes.
Good luck out there today, Abby. Great to chat this morning. And for now, let's hear from some of the other riders that will take on stage 4 today.
From what it looks like, it's likely to be a bunch sprint with not so much wind today, but also the bonus seconds are going to play a really important part because everything's, apart from Demi, everything's so close on GC from like 2 to 10.
It's, I love this race. It's just the best stage race, I think, for the organization, the whole. It's good for sure. We play for the win and to do the best. And to try to do the best place of the GC.
We hope that there's not going to ride a big group, that it's not going out, but yeah, for the rest we don't have a big plan for today to do something special, I think, or so, but yeah, just control it a bit.
It looked a bit twisty-turny today. I think we're quite lucky that the wind seems to be quite low, because otherwise I think there could have been some big splits, and I'm just glad it's warmed up a bit.
Well, that's what the riders think. Let's now take a closer look at exactly what they'll face today on stage 4 as they now head north out of Shoeburyness. Stage 4 sees the riders tackle 117.8 kilometres around the Essex countryside. Burnham-on-Crouch hosts the first intermediate sprint of the day, and the route then swings west to the second sprint at Woodham Ferrers. The only categorised climb of the stage is at Hambro Hill, and from there the race heads for Southend-on-Sea and the 1.4 kilometre finishing straight along the western esplanade. Shoeburyness is a popular destination for water sports. Because of its position, Shoeburyness has always been important for defence, and much of the boom or barrier built in 1944 to prevent enemy shipping and submarines from accessing the River Thames remains intact to this day. Famous for having the world's longest pleasure pier and 7 miles of coastline, Southend has a rich and vibrant cultural scene, including museums, art galleries and theatres, as well as the UK's #1 free-to-visit fun park with over 60 rides and attractions. Let's catch up with all the action from stage 4 now in the company of our commentary team. Here's Hannah Walker and Martin McDonald.
Riders on the start, ready for stage 4. Elise Chabet in the green Skoda Queen of the Mountains jersey. Nina Kessler in that Iceberg Sprints jersey. Riding really well this week. Clara Caponi, former leader of the race, now in that Sigma Sports points jersey, and taking over in the blue AJ Bell leaders jersey. Demi Vollering leading her first stage race since the LC Jacobs Tour in Luxembourg in 2019. A lot of riders looking relaxed on the starts.
It's great to see Ilaria Sanguinetti, Kira Consoni sharing a joke. It's good to see the relaxation.
Christine Majerus, Chantal van den Broek Black there as well. Great crowds out once again here in Shoeburyness for stage 417.8 kilometres today to Southend-on-Sea. And light winds, which I think the riders will be quite pleased with. A lot of them over the previous days were hoping that we weren't going to have gale force winds blowing right in off the sea.
For other teams, though, I think they might have been hoping the wind would have been stronger to try and split things on the lowlands and try and force a few splits and to gain some time in the general classification. Hope to put some of the riders, the faster riders perhaps, out of contention.
Demi Vollering taking a great lead into today. So you can see our teams here. Some still with 4 cams. Basso Bikes, one of the teams that are still with 6 riders. Canyon Stram there down to 4. Drops Lacole. FDJ still with 6, as have Movistar.
Liv Racing really depleted after that crash, losing a couple of their riders. So despite losing the majority of their team, still performing very well.
Sophia Bertazzolo has been racing really well this week. Sarah Roy, you can see in that green, white and gold Aussie Champions jersey. A few bandages on the arm. SD Works, of course, the team of our leader Demi Vollering, still with 6 riders. So we'll see what they can do today. Christine Majerus up towards the front. 5 apiece for DSM, Tidco and Valcar. Trek Segafredo down to 4 riders. So the rollout, the neutralised section, 76 riders taking the start this morning as we roll out on this short neutralised section. It was great to see all the fans out ready to cheer everyone off. Got to give a shout out as well to the Women's Tour superfan, the very famous Louisa Frobisher, who was out yesterday with all of the teams. She always follows the race.
It's brilliant to see her out cheering, especially with one of her favourite riders, getting to meet and greet with Chloe Hosking. And I hope one day we will get to see those two on a tandem. I know they were in discussions back in 2019 that they'd like to do a fun ride together. So fingers crossed we'll see that come to fruition.
So the team's rolling out from the start here. So Christine Majerus right in the centre. Demi Vollering in that blue jersey. DSM, they're going to be looking to try and keep this together for a bunch sprint today, I would say.
They've got one of the fastest riders in the race here, if not one of the world's best sprinters, Lorena Vibes. She's an incredible rider, already 33 victories to her name. She's had a very short career so far, only 22 years of age.
Lauren Stevens there wearing 101, the US national champion for TIBCO Silicon Valley Bank. Always race well in this tour to TIBCO Silicon Valley Bank. Chiara Consoni here wearing 132, also a fast sprinter. Kilometre 0, we are off and racing, and as you can see, it's action right from the start. The pace straight up. Joss Loudon just at the back there wearing 111.
And despite saying there wasn't much wind, a strong tailwind for the riders, and it's already Awell O'Shea setting the pace.
It's been a fast start to stage 4, over 40 kilometres covered in the first hour, and it's that familiar style of Janneke Ensing of Team Bike Exchange now going on the attack as we head towards the first sprint of the day at Burnham on Crouch. That'll come with 67.1 to go. Janneke Ensing attacking on stage 1, and you can never keep her down in this race.
You certainly can't. I think with the retirement looming for her at the end of the year, she's trying to take every opportunity possible. Perhaps quite like stage 1, she might have hoped that a few riders will have come with her, but nevertheless she's pursuing this, trying to go for a long-ranged breakaway, perhaps go for the stage win. We've seen it more and more often, haven't we, Marty, that it is doable. Riders, if there's no reaction, they pursue that solo victory, quite like on Saturday.
You think back to some of the races this year, Grace Brown in the Ox Clean Classic, flat stage. This is quite a flat stage. Everyone was talking bunch sprint, got away, held it to the finish. The recent Tour of Norway as well, we had stage victories there. Rihanna Marcus took one, Kristen Faulkner. So more and more we've seen those breakaways cheating the bunch sprinters and managing to hang on to the finish.
It's really interesting, isn't it, how the racing and the dynamic has changed over the last 18 months. I'm not sure whether that's something to do with the pandemic and the amount of time that riders had away from racing. They had that so many months to let the body rest and recover from years and years of putting yourself through fatigue, through that pressure of racing, and now knowing coming back into the racing scene, every day is almost being raced as a one-day race. It's lending itself to fast, exciting racing.
We've had some great racing this year. Janneke Ensing, as we said, hanging the bike on the hook, as they say in Belgium, at the end of the season. Turned pro way back in 2009, and another rider that came through the High-Tech Products team. She's had some great success in her career. She won the Le Samyn Classic. For me, though, one of her best performances as a pro, second in the inaugural San Sebastian Classic behind Lucy Kennedy in 2019.
Yeah, I have to agree. The way she rode there was phenomenal, wasn't it? And for the majority of her career, she's always been a domestique. She's been very committed to her teammates and to the team, and two-time second at Gent-Wevelgem as well. So she's a really versatile type of rider. She suffered a lot with injuries and illnesses, especially this year, when she spent a lot of time at altitude to try and recover and regain that fitness only a few weeks ago.
So you can see the peloton here. Lauren Stevens, 101 for Tibco Silicon Valley Bank. Does spend a lot of time chilling out down the back of the bunch, Lauren Stevens, doesn't she?
She does. She just waits and waits for that moment, doesn't she, to attack, stay out of all the chaos and the hectic battles that go on within the peloton, keeps herself out of trouble.
And we saw Phoebe Martin as well at the back for the AWOL O'Shea team, the British team, getting a lot of experience here against the World Tour teams. And you can see there one of her teammates as well, Morgan Schlader. So the peloton here, just having a glimpse there. There's Chloe Hosking. Could be a good bet for the sprint today, could Chloe Hosking. So a lot of the sprinters, we're just going to see them keeping very, very quiet within the peloton until much later on.
Just want to make sure that you save as much energy as possible, and on today's stage, when you look at the profile, it's very much suited to a bunch sprint. So for Chloe Hosking, and with the reduced team of Trek Segafredo, they have to make sure that they're saving themselves, just staying within the peloton, saving that energy.
So I just caught a glimpse there of the rainbow jersey of the world champion as the bike goes through. And you look at this wide open countryside today, and if you looked at this stage on the map, as you said, it's very, very light winds today, about 8 km/h southerly wind. If the wind had been really, really high today, you could have disintegrated this peloton through this open countryside.
With not much shelter as well, as you say, if the wind was really blowing, it could do some damage. We'd see some echelons, we'd see some splits in the peloton.
Look at DSM though, all lined out on your right there in those black jerseys with the blue stripes. Liana Lippert on the front there. Lorena Wiebes, the sprinter. They did a kind of similar job on day one. We had that big crash on stage one, but DSM are so organised as a team. Ensing though, pressing on with the attack here, the bike exchange rider. Could see the SD Works team, Chantal van den Broek Black in the centre of your picture there in that purple jersey. For Demi Vollering, she has got so much experience around her to defend this jersey.
When you look down at the roster of SD Works and who they've got at the helm with Danish Stam, Amy Peters, Chantal van den Broek Black, Elena Cecchini, Christine Majerus and Anna Shackley, what a formidable team. Any one of those riders could be leading the overall general classification at the moment. So SD Works really are one of the most prominent teams, one of the world's best teams over the last 10 years in the peloton.
Canyon Stram on the left there in those galactic jerseys. You've got the green Skoda Queen of the Mountains jersey there of Elise Chabet, just keeping her up towards the front, keeping her out of trouble. Ella Harris there. You can see Clara Caponi as well from Team FDJ in the light blue jersey. Into our sprint point now. So Burnham on Crouch. We're not far away now from the first iceberg sprint of the day. So remember, Nina Kessler in that red jersey right on cue moves up on that bright yellow bike for Tibco Silicon Valley Bank. 14 points in the competition. Sarah Royce second with 6. Sophia Bertizzolo third going into today with 4 points. Nina Kessler has quite a stranglehold over this competition.
Nina Kessler very isolated though. No teammates around her. She's moving up around the outside of the peloton on her own, looking after herself as Janneke Ensing goes through that 1 kilometre to go until we get to the first intermediate sprint of the day.
3, 2 and 1 points, 3, 2 and 1 bonus seconds as well, so expect the riders up here. For Demi Vollering though, 1 and 9 second advantage, so quite a comfortable lead you would say in the general classification. Tivco Silicon Valley Bank though have done a great job over the course of the first 2 stages before we went into yesterday's individual time trial. Leading out for Nina Kessler, we know that the 3 points are going here to Janneke Ensing, and now you see the Anna Shackley, the young Brit there in that purple jersey, now up towards the front with Amy Peters right on the wheel, down the centre here for FDJ Claponi. You can see her poised and ready behind the peloton, really upping the pace now behind Janneke Ensing.
Team DSM doing a full lead out for Lorena Wiebes. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a little bit of a practice for the back end and for the finish of today's sprint. They're doing everything perfectly, hugging the left-hand side of the road, shoulder to shoulder with FDJ Nouvelle Aquitaine.
Caponi in that light blue Sigma Sports points jersey though, moving up towards the front here. Ensing pressing on with her attack. She sees the Iceberg sprint point just ahead of her, but look at the lead outs coming here behind the red jersey of Nina Kessler, looking to try and profit off those lead outs, but maximum points here to Janneke Ensing as she goes through our first sprint of the day. This is what we're looking for. So some of the sprinters looking to challenge for this sprints jersey, but also looking to potentially wake the legs up for a little bit later on. Leah Kirschman now on the front. Wiebes poised and ready there as they cross the line. And Kirschman and Wiebes kept the pace so high, no one could challenge.
Well, some valuable bonus seconds there for Leah Kirschman to add to her general classification. No real challenge from behind, despite the ferocious battling going on into the final 1 kilometre of that intermediate sprint.
So now the peloton just start to collect themselves behind. Everyone just having a look around here. Abby Smith just moving up on the right there for Tivco Silicon Valley Bank. After that should help Ensing here, so the peloton should pause. But the young Brit now, Abby Smith here on the attack for Tivco Silicon Valley Bank. Just 19 years old, this young rider. Winner of the Melton Cycle Classic a little bit earlier on in the season. Former British Criterium champion. If you think about it as well, only really started racing seriously in 2019, and the attack there, game over for Janneke Ensing.
Janneke Ensing not happy at all. She's speaking into her radio and she's taking a look behind. Something really is a problem here. The shake of the head. Racing's racing though.
It's been a frantic pace over the first 2 hours of the stage, averaging 40 kilometres an hour. We're heading towards our second sprint of the day at Woodham Ferris. That comes with 25.5 kilometres to go. That first sprint taken by Janneke Ensing with Leah Kirschman and Lorena Wiebes taking the maximum points from the peloton. You can see on the left of your picture though, it's Liana Lippert of DSM that's starting to lead out. We're seeing those light blue Trek Segafredo jerseys. Lizzie Deignan also up towards the front now. 1 kilometre to go in towards the sprint. So it looks here Trek Segafredo starting to come through as well.
Yeah, Trek Segafredo, you just see the little nod from Lizzie Deignan there, just signalling to Audrey Cordon-Rigaud to move over from the right-hand side of our picture as we see it over to the left to go in front of Lizzie, just to try and protect Chloe Hoskin as much as they possibly can.
So DSM are there. Lauren Stevens, you can see now the Tivco Silicon Valley Bank team of our Iceberg Sprints leader, Nina Kessler, now starting to move up towards the front. Elise Chabet in that green jersey. There's Kessler, though, in the red jersey, and you can see the pressure on there for the riders at the back as we line up for the next sprint of the day. Liana Lippert now on the front. Clara Caponi in that blue jersey for FDJ. So she's up here. Here come the teammates to help her.
The former French champion Jade Field just coming in front of Clara Caponi to lead her out. There is Evita Music in the French tricolore.
national champion of France, one of the most exciting young riders in the world. Evita Musique here in that tricolor French national champions jersey. Here come DSM and Nina Kessler looking to try and challenge for this one. Kirschman and Peters though on the left. So the red Iceberg Sprints jersey right down the centre. Here comes Lorena Wiebes though. Lorena Wiebes comes through to take maximum points there. Peters and Kessler getting themselves up there as well. And there's confirmation of your results. So Lorena Wiebes takes 3 points in 3 seconds. Peters takes 2. Kessler takes 1.
A really explosive sprint there from Lorena Wiebes, and I think this is perhaps a little story of what's to come at the end of the stage with the head-to-head between Amy Peters and Lorena Wiebes.
Now we turn our attention to the only Queen of the Mountains of the day at Hambro Hill. Elise Chabet going into the stage with 10 points to Demi Vollering's 9. Janneke Ensing third with 6 points. It's a 400-metre climb, averaging 8%. Valcar Travel and Service, though, now moving up towards the front. So plenty of points on offer here, Hannah, at this only Skoda Queen of the Mountains point of the day.
A really short, steep, leg-stinging Queen of the Mountains as you go past the school children on the right-hand side. This is really going to put some pressure on some of these riders. Anyone who's starting to suffer or feel the pace. Only 12.6 kilometres to go once we crest the top of the Queen of the Mountain.
We'll see if it's an opportunity to get away. So Cat 1, 6, 5, 3, 2 and 1 points on offer at this one. Experience would tell us, though, that now with Demi Vollering in the blue AJ Bell leaders jersey, that she won't challenge now for the Queen of the Mountains. So Chabet, you can see in that green Queen of the Mountains leaders jersey, she's just got to try and pick up consistent points now over the course of the final 3 days.
And a lot of points for today's Queen of the Mountain. If Demi Vollering doesn't score, that's those 6 points to her. She's got her pilot Ella Harris, the former New Zealand national champion, just to pilot her way through this Queen of the Mountain. And when you look at the attributes and the forte of Chabet, she does have that punchy kick, and it is suited to her, this Queen of the Mountain.
Valcar Travel and Service there. You can see the world champion there of Elisa Balsamo. I love how quickly the sponsors get everything out. The bike, the helmet, the glasses. I know if I was world champion, I'd really milk the rainbows.
It's tremendous, isn't it? They only had around 5 days to be able to produce the kit, the bike, the glasses, all the equipment with the world champion stripes on. So really, it is impressive, isn't it?
This as we head now towards the climb. So this team now we're trying to set up the sprint as well for the finish. So they're just trying to keep control over this one. You can just see some of the riders just diverting each other around any potholes on the road. There's a lot of communication that goes on within the peloton. Valcar, though, keeping control over the front of this one for the AWOL O'Shea team. If you looked at AWOL O'Shea as we head in towards this Queen of the Mountains, it's a bit like for those riders, the domestic-based riders, if Man United and Barcelona pitched up in your local park, it's like stepping up a huge level. So they're really doing well to still be sat on the back of that peloton.
They certainly are. They've had a lot of races this year in mainland Europe to try and gain as much experience as possible. Of course, we all know how difficult it was for some of the British riders to travel across seas last year, so they were really on the back foot. But at the moment, Phoebe Martin just sitting in the wheels at the back there with number 55 on her back.
Ella Harris just trying to find her way back up towards the front on the right of your picture there for Canyon SRAM. There's your gradient, so 8%. This is what everyone talks about British roads, these short, sharp, punchy climbs. Anne Santesteban out of the saddle there in that black-white Celeste jersey for Bike Exchange. Chabet, though, the Queen of the Mountains leader, the style of the Swiss rider, now opens up the sprint. And Liana Lippert trying to get on terms with her, but Chabet looking to try and extend the lead in the Queen of the Mountains competition. And she does, takes maximum points over the top of Hambro Hill and extends the lead in that competition. So those points scored will give her a total now of 16 points. There's your confirmation. Liana Lippert takes 5. Anne Santesteban taking 4 for Team Bike Exchange. That is all the competitions behind us today. Queen of the Mountains and 2 sprints. Now our attention turns to the sprint finish.
Once Elise Chabet unleashes that explosive power, no one's able to get on terms with her in this competition.
So we're heading towards the final 10K of the stage. Is it going to be a bunch sprint, or can anyone get away? 10k to go. Lizzie Deignan just talking into the radio. The Trek Segafredo rider on the front. Abby Smith well up there as well for Tibco's Silicon Valley Bank. So the young Brit, as we said, really acquitting herself. She'll be loving riding in this company as well.
She certainly will, and I think race by race you can see that confidence growing, that motivation, the knowledge coming through as well that she's been learning from the team, from her sports director Rachel Hederman, really holding her own.
Trixie Worrack on the front for Trek Segafredo. As a rider, we talk about classic victories. Won the Milan San Remo Classic, one of the only editions of that race, one of her biggest victories in her career. And as we said, retiring at the end of this race. She did retire after Paris-Roubaix. She's going to take up a new coaching position in Thuringen, back home in Germany. So they're trying to set up their sprinters now. Hannah, in terms of the run-in towards the finish, where do you want to be? It's a very long finish straight today.
It is. We have the final left-hand bend with around 1.5 kilometres to go, but before that we have a very steep, fast descent, so positioning is going to be vital. With only 76 riders left in the peloton, keeping the pace high, holding your own. Perhaps you'll want to start your lead out much earlier than you normally would do. And you can afford to do your lead out much earlier, expend a lot more energy just to make sure that when you enter that final left-hand bend, you are well placed.
We've had a couple of very tight bends in towards the finish on the opening couple of days. It's 200 and 300 metres from the final corner. Nina Kessler on the back here in that Sprints jersey. Job done today for Nina.
Great job from Nina Kessler, making sure that she keeps herself within that Iceberg Sprints jersey, picking up the sole point.
You see Amy Peters second in line there in that Dutch national champions jersey, just tightening the shoes, just making sure everything is safe and ready for that sprint. So at the back there you can see riders Lizzie Deignan just moving up around that sort of road furniture in the centre. Park Hotel Valkenburg moving up in these white, pink and green jerseys. They've got Amber van der Hulst, who's a really up-and-coming young sprinter, kind of took over from Lorena Wiebes in that team when she moved up to DSM.
Teams having to pick which side of the road they want to be on depending on the wind direction. You can see there's a lot of moving around. We have the central reservation, so riders trying to pick which side is the best side to be on. Team DSM just gathering themselves up on the right hand side of the screen in the black jerseys as Drops Le Col go into the centre with April Tacey, trying to look after the interests of Marjolein van Geloof.
So plenty of teams trying to get themselves up towards the front. These riders here, though, got to be mindful of how much this peloton can stretch on the run in towards the line. Audrey Cordon-Ragot on the front for Trek Segafredo. They'll be defending the interests of Chloe Hosting. Christine Majerus is there. Here comes the leader's jersey, though, of Demi Vollering. She's just got to keep herself out of trouble on the run into these finishes.
Keep herself out of trouble, but also whilst doing a job to try and lead out Amy Peters. So almost a double-edged sword for Demi Vollering, and you can see how much work the riders at the back are having to do. This road is deceptively hard. There's a slight drag for those up towards the front. They're saving so much more energy than those riders who are having to expend the energy trying to move back up to position themselves well.
Job done for Trixie Worrack. Just drops off the back now. She'll just ride in towards the finish. Vollering takes a glance back over the shoulder. So Elena Cecchini, you can see third in line here. You've got the Team Movistar riders, though, up towards the front as well. Shayla Gutierrez, fast finisher for that team. Eugenia Bujak in that white Slovenian national champions jersey is very much to the front of this one as well. So through these twists and turns, you can see the effort that the riders are having to make now on the back there. Connie Hayes, big gear out of that corner.
A huge gear, just trying to turn it over, trying to stay within contact. Hannah Barnes up towards the front there for Canyon Schramm, that fluid pedaling style.
Becky Story here, 86 for Cams Basso. Hannah Barnes pedals smoothly through to the front without her sister Alice on the wheel. Hannah's got to be one of the coolest riders out there, I think.
I always love it when you see the grimacing, the rocking, rolling of the shoulders from other riders, and then you see Hannah Barnes come through, the former British champion, almost with a smile on her face, making things look easy.
Yeah, she just floats around the front of the peloton. It's so impressive. Here come Bike Exchange, so the jerseys up towards the front. Chabet in that green Queen of the Mountains jersey. So Canyon SRAM looking to try and set up this sprint for British champion Alice Barnes. You can see in that white jersey with the red, white and blue bands. So the riders here just having to go left and right through these sections, and you see how much effort the riders down the back of the peloton are having to make as they try and line up the sprint. Chantal van den Broek-Black now on the front in the purple.
You see how stressful it is any further back than 15th position, with the riders trying to avoid the central reservation or the road furniture on the road. So important that you can use more energy than you need to, just to make sure you hold that position.
It's worth looking when we get back to the front of the peloton as well. Look at Alice Barnes and how she keeps looking up over the top of the peloton just to see what things are going on at the front. But it's Christine Majerus now leading out here. Eleanor Cecchini right on the wheel. Demi Vollering, Chantal van den Broek-Black, Amy Peters locked in there right on the wheel. Dijknen now right through the centre of the road here with Chloe Hosking on the wheel. So Dijknen looking to lead out for the Aussie.
Dijknen constantly taking a look over her left and right shoulder, making sure that the Commonwealth Games champion is locked and loaded on her wheel, ready to deliver her. They've got a small but mighty team, have Trek Segafredo.
Now watch the absence at the moment on the run-in. The team in the black and blue, Team DSM of Lorena Wiebes. The timing for the crash at the back. So riders going down here at the back of the peloton. Abby Smith, unfortunately, has gone down there for Tibco Silicon Valley Bank, but quickly up. Good to see.
A real shame there for Abby Smith of Team Tibco Silicon Valley Bank. And you see the dangers of this. You get to that narrowing from a wide section of road, you get to that pinch point, and crashes unfortunately do happen.
Team SD Works on the front. Bujak there, just in front of Marta Bastianelli. So LA BTC Ljubljana trying to lead out for our stage 1 winner. So we'll have a look down through the groups to see if anyone's been distanced off the back of that one at the moment. Here come Park Hotel Valkenburg. As we said a little moments ago, Amber van der Hulst, really talented young sprinter from that team is Amber van der Hulst. Got a few drops jerseys in these back groups. I'm hoping that Joss Loudon is not one of them.
Yeah, Joss Loudon at the moment holding 6th place in the general classification. Around 20 riders just tailed off the back after that crash, but now the fight really starts to open up. The jostling at the front with Park Hotel Valkenburg leading things through. Lizzie Dijknen just a little bit on the right-hand side. Chloe Hosking locked and loaded on the lead-out train of Park Hotel Valkenburg.
So many teams trying to get supremacy over the front of the peloton now, but here come DSM. As you said, they are the absolute queens of timing this one to perfection. They do it week in, week out, race in, race out for their sprinters. You don't see them until they absolutely need to be on the front.
When you see the DSM lead-out train, they led Lorena Wiebes to 2 victories at the Giro d'Italia earlier in July. As we see 3 kilometers to go until we get to that finish. Only a kilometer to go until we have that steep, fast descent before the final left-hand bend.
Vollering has a glance across, so our race leader, our overall general classification leader in that blue AJ Bell leader's jersey, moves across to her teammates. Dijknen ups the pressure now on the front again for Trek Segafredo. Chloe Hosking is getting a great lead out here. Audrey Cordon-Rago, number 2 for Trek Segafredo, now just on the back of the peloton. Her job was done a little bit earlier on in the stage.
We still see the ebb and flow, the nuances. Riders still trying to move themselves up, live racing with their depleted team of Sofia Bertizzolo and Soraya Paladin. Paladin on the front in that purple jersey, trying to position Sofia Bertizzolo.
Impressive stuff. You're down to 2 riders and they're still fighting it out for the stage victories.
And knowing the form that Sofia Bertizzolo is in, that you have to give everything you possibly can. Here is the Serbian champion Jelena Eric of Movistar trying to set things up for Shayla Gutierrez. She's been in good form. She's had a few podiums already this week.
Movistar, they've got Shayla Gutierrez. Aude Bionic is right up there, and we're about to start the descent, and then we will swing left, and then we have 1.5 kilometers up towards the finish. And at the moment, Hannah, no team has real control with 2 kilometers to go.
No control with the limited teams, the wide open road as well. A real free-for-all. It's a fight to hold your position, and you see the riders trying to get as aero as possible because it's so fast down this section of road that you're running out of gears already.
can see the power now, the speed at the back of the peloton, and it's Team Bike Exchange that are trying to keep the pressure high. You can see the world champion Elisa Balsamo in that white jersey with the rainbow band. She's up there. Here come Valcar Travel and Service, Ilaria Sanguinetti trying to bring themselves through. Well, interesting to see the order now, and this is the left-hand turn as Majerus is on the front for Team SD Works. Chloe Hosking right up there, 1,500 metres now to go from this final corner up towards the line.
As you see, some riders' jobs are done for the day. Majerus still looking around, trying to take a look where the Dutch national champion Amy Peters is. Look how stretched out this is. The wind coming from the right-hand side off the sea.
1 kilometre to go in towards the finish now. 1K to go. Joss Loudon just making contact with the back of the peloton. Big power now on the front for FDJ Nouvelle Aquitaine for Churrasco. Clara Caponi in that blue Sigma Sports points jersey right there. But look at the power now from Valcar Travel and Service. Sanguinetti burying herself on the front.
And Valcar Travel and Service still with riders left at their disposal for Kira Consoni at the moment. Sanguinetti, she's such a powerful rider. On the left-hand side of your screen, Tennille Campbell for Sarah Roy. Things start to open up on the right-hand side of the screen, though, with Elise Chabet trying to take Alice Barnes through with 500 metres to go.
Here comes the world champion, Balsamo. Now we're going to see the world champion lead out. She's got Chiara Consoni right on the wheel. Alice Barnes is there. Amy Peters. Bastianelli is there. Here comes Bertazzolo. They're going to open this sprint up now. Where is Chloe Hosking? There she is. It's still Balsamo on the front. Now the sprint starts. It's Consoni and Wiebes with Hosking right behind. Wiebes comes through. Consoni is there. Lorena Wiebes has got the gap. Lorena Wiebes takes the stage for DSM. What a sprint there. She had to surf the other lead-outs there after being delivered to the front by her teammates. But you've got to say, Hannah, the fastest sprinter in the world at the moment, Lorena Wiebes, takes the stage.
A well-judged sprint there from Lorena Wiebes, and you see she's head-to-head with Kira Consoni of Valcar Travel and Service in the pink. Marta Bastianelli, the former world champion and Stage 1 winner, gets caught on the left-hand side of the barriers. Hosking trying to come up late, but on the line, Wiebes had it clearly with over a bike length. Lorena Wiebes takes Stage 4 from Kira Consoni and Chloe Hosking in third.
Lorena Wiebes edged out Chiara Consoni and Chloe Hosking. Shayla Gutierrez was fourth, and then came Maria van Geloof, Sophia Bertazzolo, Sarah Roy and Alice Barnes. Marta Bastianelli and Amy Peters, the winners of Stage 1 and 2, completed the top 10. So Team DSM's Lorena Wiebes takes her first win on the AJ Bell Women's Tour. Only one climb today and Elise Chabet won it, strengthening her hold on the Skoda Queen of the Mountains green jersey. Nina Kessler is still dominating in the Iceberg Sprints competition. And the new owner of the Sigma Sports points jersey is Shayla Gutierrez.
It's really nice. I'm still wearing the blue, like in Movistar, so yeah, I supposed to came to this race and I'm enjoying every K with this team, and I'm happy to wear it in the Women's Tour because it's a big race.
Taking the podium as leader of the AJ Bell Women's Tour for the second day running is Demi Vollering. Not much change at the top of the GC. Demi Vollering leads by over a minute from Juliette Labousse and Clara Caponi. Amy Peters has closed the gap to third place to just 1 second, and Aude Bianique lies fifth. Leah Kirschman moves up to sixth, just ahead of Joss Loudon, the best placed British rider.
And our stage winner joins me now. Lorena, we expected today to end up in a bunch sprint, but tell us exactly how you played that one to perfection.
Well, the final was pretty much chaos, and I just tried to find my way to the good wheels, and I ended up in the lead out of Valcar, so it ended up good, and I could ride my sprint as I wanted, so yeah.
What happens when you feel like you're losing your own lead-out train? How do you stay calm and look to bounce new wheels?
Well, luckily I did it in the past on my own. Actually, this is one of, since last year, I have a lead-out train, so we work hard on it. but I'm not panicking when I lose them, so that's good.
Well, we know the team and yourself in particular wanted a stage victory here at the Women's Tour this week. You've executed that, as I say, to perfection this week. How significant is a win like today?
Yeah, it's really great to win, especially when Pfeiffer was really close on stage 2. So we're really happy with this win and we go for more.
Well, I was going to say, final question, what are the opportunities over the next 2 stages?
Yeah, we will go for it and we have many cards to play, so it will be good. And also, we've tried to stay on the podium on GC with Juliette.
I was going to say as well, loads of opportunities in that GC as well. It's been a stunning week. Thanks so much for the chat and congratulations. Well, that is all we have time for here in Southend-on-Sea. Join us at the same time tomorrow and we'll have all the action from stage 5. See you then.